We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hello and welcome to See It Clearly. I'm Michael Carson, your host, and you're listening to Bob Marley. You can see clearly now that the rain is gone. And today it looks like it's going to rain outside in LA, but I don't think we're going to get lucky enough and get some actual rain. It's sunny California and it is springtime. Thank you for joining us today. I have some fantastic guests. The first guest, which I learned about through some clients of mine, is a pioneer in the bio-based nutrition and the use of food as natural medicine. Her name is Annie Padden-Jubb, and I'm so lucky, Annie. Thank you for coming here today. Yeah, there's going to be a lot to learn about you. We're gonna be talking about how to save some lives. Actually, I think that you've done a lot of work with people that most people only wish they could do.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to that talk. And also today joining us, you may recognize Elena. Elena Zwick is here from Elena's Beauty Talk and More, which is on Wednesdays from 12 to 1:30. It was actually the first show that I was on LA Talk Live. And Elena and I are both from Rochester, New York, and we share a passion for health, fitness, and wellness. And thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here and actually to see you do your own show.
I know.
This is really exciting.
It's like your little kid has grown up and has moved
yeah,
on.
my little kid has grown up. I inspired him to do his own show, and you're doing an amazing job.
Well, thank you. And, you know, I noticed this chair that I get to sit in is even higher, so it's like I have the chair.
I know, because
now.
we kind of look like pea heads in that chair.
I know, we're small people. so I'm not sitting on a pillow, everybody. It's actually the chair is up a little bit. But I want to get back and start right away with Annie.
Sure.
You've written so many books. You've helped people in a lot of ways. But when it comes to cleanses, because the term cleanse is something that's used prevalent a lot, and you go into Whole Foods or in a supermarket and there's a colon cleanse and this kind of cleanse. Can you explain what you do and why it's not the typical cleanse that you see in the marketplace?
Okay. Well, I sort of crafted this during the 90s. For about 10 years in New York City, I ran an outpatient fasting clinic. So I've fasted tens of thousands of people. And so what I do is put them on an 100% raw living, blended food or juice diet for a period of a few days at least, but sometimes as long as months, depending on what they're recovering from.
And when they come to you, give me an idea of the kind of person that you're helping with this fast.
Oh, I worked with everybody from people that were given a couple months to live. You know, go put your affairs in order. You're going to be a dead person soon.
Yeah.
And these were post-op cancer patients. They'd done, you know, like chemo and radiation, or they had, you know, anything from obesity to diabetes to multiple sclerosis. I mean, you know, the range of whatever. For me, I really don't look at it as like a whole bunch of different diseases. It's just one disease. It's toxicity and what I call enervation, which is a lack of information traveling through the nervous system, right? And so basically my program centers on cleaning out the liver, and we do liver and gallbladder flushes until it's nice and clean in there. For me, the liver is the most important organ of the body. It's the hottest organ of the body. It's the most quick to regenerate.
When you say hottest, actual temperature-wise, it's the warmest.
Yeah, it's the warmest.
It's our center. It's our Earth core.
Yeah, it's the core.
Got it.
Exactly. And so what I've just found that if I can clean that out, it doesn't matter if the person has, like, you know, brain cancer or gout in their toe or whatever, they all start to heal, because the body is a perfect self-correcting mechanism. And if there's not wellness there, it's because there's too many toxins and not enough nutrient. And so by getting the liver does over 100 different things, but it certainly turns food into energy and helps with digestion. It creates digestion basically as well with the bile salts. And so today the gallbladder is more like the trash can for the liver, because we're eating so many new foods that were invented in laboratories with lots of chemicals and all kinds of new foods that we've never been introduced to before. So what happens is the body then can't get rid of it. It has to store it. It finds places all around the body to actually store that material. And so gallstones are really just a product of inorganic minerals and rancid oils and starches and
no, are gallstones and kidney stones
totally different things? Yeah,
they're created differently.
Yeah,
okay.
The gallstones. Well, there's some of the same elements. They often have inorganic calcium. That's what the kidney stones are all about. That's why they're so painful. It's because they're hard calciums in there that are very spiky, and so when they're when the body tries to urinate them out, it really hurts the urethra.
Yeah.
But gallstones are different. They're mostly cholesterol, and they also have a lot of inorganic calciums in them as well, depending on the person's diet and the kind of foods that they've favored over their lifetime. When we've even looked at small children, in autopsies, they can see that there's gravel in their bile ducts and the bile,
and that's
the
all
bile bladder as well.
Based on their nutrition. It's because
Yeah,
their age
those
is so
children
young.
probably started off with formula, rather than breast milk, and so then they start to build those gallstones right throughout the body because there's a lot of inorganic minerals in there.
How do you know if you were possibly have gallstones? What are the signs?
Sluggish digestion, body odor, a little bit of pain in there if it gets very chronic. How many bowel movements do you have a day? If you have, if you eat 3 meals a day and you have 3 good bowel movements a day, that's excellent. That's a good sign. But most people do have gallstones, any kind of constipation like that, or if you're digesting food, you see that there's still, bits of food in your fecal debris, that hasn't been digested. That's an indication. There's dozens of ways to determine it.
Got it. Well, I had a client that introduced me to you, and he went through your 5-day program.
Yeah.
And everything you're mentioning, he experienced. Gallstones being eliminated, and his skin improving immediately, psoriasis issue that he had completely at bay, and this is 5 days. And part of it was the Life Food Organic, I guess most of it would be the Life Food Organic product that you create. You do have 2 restaurants here in Los Angeles, one on 3rd and Pico and one over on Cahuenga, and you can experience these juices for yourself in Los Angeles. I mean, that's the great thing. Can you explain a little bit about the what you did for my client in the 5-day cleanse? What was he hoping to get out of it, and what did you provide him?
Well, he had some symptoms that he wanted to heal up. He wanted to lose a little weight. He wanted to firm up his skin a little bit. And he had the psoriasis that had been really bothering him. And so I said, well, have you ever done a liver and gallbladder? That's my first question to almost everybody. Have you ever done a liver and gallbladder cleanse?
And you know the answer.
And they're always like, no. I'm like,
yeah.
Jump in. So it's a simple program. I mean, it's outlined in my book, Life Food Recipe Book, so most people can do it in their own home as long as they have a blender and access to fresh produce. But we also cater it in my restaurants too, which makes it really easy to do. So, there's 6 different beverages every day. We have something like this, which is the all greens juice, and then we have 2 different blended soups, which is kind of like a gazpacho, but it's blended really finely.
And you can have that warm or cold, or is it just mostly
Well, you can warm it a
temperature?
little bit, but the idea is to keep it under 118 degrees because that's the survival temperature of enzymes.
Okay.
And so all of my life's work is based on this survival of the enzymes, actually, this raw living food. It's become more common today, but...
So if it's warmer than a sauna, it's not. It's lost a lot of its nutrients.
And actually even, the vitamin C and things that are very heat sensitive, they drop down a little bit too. But, there's nut milks, there's, an electrolyte lemonade, which is a really great lemonade that we make that has a little bit of oil and salt in it. Really good oil and a very, very good salt, like a sun-dried ocean water, which is the only salt you should really take in. And some other things. But everything is blended very, very, very well. And mostly I do this because... people just don't chew their food as well as they ought to.
That's something I've told my clients a lot through the years. They wonder why they have gas after they've eaten. They burp a lot, and it's usually because they're wolfing the food down and they're not masticating properly.
Throwing it back with a bunch of cold beverage or something.
and bubbly beverages at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that way too, because it's all raw fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, it's all really good for you. So you really want to make sure that we should really chew it very, very well. But in this case, I know they're not going to do that. So I'm just going ahead and jumping ahead and blending everything. And then it's really easy to uptake and assimilate the vitamins and minerals in there. They're very small in colloidal form. So then it saturates the body with nutrient, and the cells get, drenched with this kind of nutrient. And they're usually starving to death. Any obese person on the street is actually starving to death. They've been eating non-nutritive foods, lots of mucus-forming foods, lots of inflammatory foods. And so that's why they need to eat again and again and again, because each meal is a non-nutritive meal. It's really for entertainment purely.
Yeah, and it really isn't serving the purpose of satiating the need for nutrients. It's only satiating the need for hunger.
Right, which is why they keep eating. They keep going after
They never
it.
get to it.
Yeah.
So this cleanse, which was 5 days, what can you expect if you're someone who's come to you? What happens the first day? What am I given?
First day you kind of miss chewing.
Do you? You got to get used to the.
You kind of like, I think I'll eat something. Well, no, I'll drink another one of my beverages or whatever. You know, you really shouldn't be hungry on the program. You can have as much of it as you like.
And my client said he wasn't hungry. He shockingly enough, and he likes to eat, as most of us do.
Yeah,
but he
because
wasn't
it's 100% nutrient rich and nutrient dense.
And
so
this is the form it comes in.
Yeah.
And how many a day?
We give you 6 of the 16-ounce beverages. They're all different, and yeah, you really shouldn't feel hungry on it. In fact, when I do it, you know, I almost take half of it, or probably 4 a day or something like that. But you can have as much as you want, you know, in smoothies, and you know, it's packed with a lot of nutrients in there, and phytonutrients like maca and spirulina and whatever, you know, all kinds of good things in there. So you should feel really good, and then you know, you might feel a little sluggish, because what happens is, you know, your body's, those enzymes get busy, and they start to dissolve the mucus that's in your body and lining all the passageways of the body. You know, in the sinus cavities here, there's seven cavities, and they should really be empty. But most people have really hardened mucus in there, you know. And so it starts to dissolve that. It dissolves anything that's not you, basically. And it gets everything moving, you know, so you have a few more bowel movements than you're normally going to have.
and people clients say to me, you know, I don't want, you want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold on to toxins. You know, people say, well, it's a pain, it takes time. Well, that's time that will add to the end of your life.
Yeah. If it doesn't come out, it's going to stay in. It's better out than in.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, and then they look great. Like his skin cleared up really easily, and
he didn't have a problem with it. It wasn't as if the flavor was something he couldn't handle.
Oh, they're delicious.
Yeah,
all
and
the
I've been
beverages
drinking.
are really
I'm going to finish more of it as we get to the commercial, but I've had one before. They're good.
Yeah, well, I think cleansing should, you know, taste good and look sexy and be fun, and at the end of it, you have more energy and you know.
And can I say that your cleanse is adding nutrient, not just subtracting things like the colon cleanses and things that you see. They're not putting anything back into your system. They're only stripping your system, it seems to me.
Yeah.
The ones that I see. So this is much more thorough. And the 5-day program, you also have a 14-day fast. What is the difference between the 5-day? Obviously, it's a lot longer, but is it for a different individual, different need?
Yeah, different needs, basically. I designed the 14-day because I was working with a lot of post-op cancer patients, you know. I mean, for whatever reason, word got around Manhattan, and then all of a sudden, I gave a weekly lecture every week with my then husband, Dr. David Jubb, and you know, it would be packed, and you'd see the people kind of change and stuff, and all of a sudden we were like, wow, we're just working with all these post-op cancer patients. It's like, oh, well, you know, when Spirit sends you clients, you learn how to treat them.
And they're captive.
Yeah,
well, they have a real invested
really
interest into
good results with these people. So, so for whatever reason, it just kind of spread from there. So cancer is a sugar-based disease, right? And it's very fast-moving sugars, refined sugars, and all starches that break down into sugar as well. So basically the American diet.
Exactly. Anything that we've seen in our commercial will add to your possibilities of getting any form.
It's changing, but it's changing slowly. But anyway, so what we did was we just stripped the, you know, all the sugars out of the program, even like, you know, sugary, you know, like carrots and beets were just a little too sugary for these people, and of course dates and pineapple and even strawberries for a while. They're making different strawberries now. They were really hybridized strawberries in the 90s. I don't know if you remember that, but they were these big, huge,
gigantic,
really heavy sugar.
Even the seeds were bigger on the strawberries.
Everything was bigger, like big hybridized strawberries. At any rate, so that's when we really got down to that. And check out all of the sugars for these people, then they would heal very quickly, very efficiently. And so we realized, wow, you know, pretty much every American and anybody in the modern world can really heal very, very quickly on this kind of a program. And then, of course, we do the liver and gallbladder flushes, which is, you know, after you've done a couple days of this, you sit down and do a significant amount of olive oil and citrus juices.
which is I love. I mean, that's the essence. And for this, it's definitely something that people they're so toxic that. This is for 14 days. 5 days, the result was amazing. I can only imagine what for 14 days. But
oh, you look great, and it's such a refresher, too.
But yeast and candida issues as well will be either arrested or not eliminated in that short amount of time. Would it be in 14 days? Could you?
Well, you're just not feeding it, so there's a big die-off. Yeah. And if you're treating that specifically, you can throw some other things into it. This is, you know, this can be tailored incredibly to each person's needs, and a lot of, you know, and you asked me too why the 5-day and the 14-day. It's funny because in New York, I was working with very, very ill people, you know, and literally fighting for their lives, you know, not given much hope at all, and certainly nothing from the medical community. And when I moved out here, which I love working with that population, by the way. When I moved out here, I started working with a lot of celebrities and stuff. They're like,
What a
I'll give you 5 days.
I see. So basically,
They're not sick. I had no leverage
well,
with them.
they're sick, but let's.
Well,
we'll
yeah,
not
but they're
go
not
there.
fighting for their lives,
Yeah,
which is a very different kind
they're
of...
they're fighting for their key light.
They're fighting for their star,
Exactly,
right?
that's different. Which is okay. If we didn't have celebrities and stars, we wouldn't have entertainment.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. And
Not
actually,
at
it's a
all.
really fun, kind of thing for me to work with. Not just celebrities, but like people mostly want the cleanse for beauty, and I certainly work with
How
a
about
lot
for
of ill people.
seniors? How about for people that are
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's something that my mom is in her 70s, and my father has passed away. And if he'd taken care of himself like my mom does,
Yeah.
although my mom, I love you, Mom. I know that there are things you could do to improve on how you take care of yourself, but maybe this cleanse might be a good way for her
Be
to.
great for her.
Because she's had fibromyalgia and other conditions that I think are more related to not what's going on in your body, but what's going on environmentally and what you're ingesting. Just like you said, we're so filled up with these storage units of toxins in our body and our fat systems and our gallbladders and livers that don't need to be there. And so for seniors, is there a senior cleanse program that you...
It's pretty much the same for everybody. Children can do this. It's basically you're just taking up a bunch of great fruits and vegetables and throwing it in a blender. And
But in a specific...
Well, you're making it tasty,
Yeah,
But, I mean,
yeah.
I make it tasty.
Yeah.
But so it's really, it depends, So if they want to do something more mild, they could just do a 1-day cleanse, and do a mini liver and gallbladder, like a liver flush at the end of it, which is much less olive oil and just a little bit of citrus juices with it. And they'll get a nice little purge. I've worked with very, very elderly people. I've worked with very young, children. And the idea is to get more nutrient in them. Because then the body knows how to self-correct. And so that's kind of my whole philosophy.
And on Facebook, I promoted the airing, and a question came back: when do you know when you should cleanse? So say you've done the 5-day cleanse. When's the next time that you should do? Is there a cycle that you get on for people like we do for dentistry, where you go every 4 months to get your teeth cleaned? Or
Yeah, for people who like that, I usually say, well, do it at the season change.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, and but it sort of depends too. I mean, like, in New York, it was more challenging, of course, like fasting in the wintertime with the raw living foods. So I found that my juices were, like I was juicing whole garlics and onions and cayenne and all this stuff to try to get the heat up, just because it's so cold out.
Yeah.
It's a blizzard out.
The thermogenic response.
Yeah, and I find that I was also running a lot of residential retreats too, so I would do a lot more in the summertime. But I did a significant fast. I would do like a 2-week, sometimes a 3-week fast at the end of February, because I figured if we were living in teepees on the plains, this is about the time we'd start running out of food.
Right.
And just before the sprouts come up in the springtime, so kind of want to simulate that.
So springtime
natural
would be
thing.
the healthiest diet because it would be coming from a hibernated state, as it were, when it comes to food and being able to get food, and then you'd have the sprouted food. So springtime was the time where people's energy and their enlightenment probably really blossomed.
Yeah, and they're crawling out of the cave.
Yeah.
It'd been a long winter.
Exactly.
Oh my
Any
God.
sprout, anything
Yeah,
green.
eat anything, yeah.
Well, let's talk about your restaurant, too.
Sure.
Your restaurant being not a place that you have to go and have a fast, but you can go and take care of yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah,
So,
super tasty foods, yeah.
so explain if someone was, if you want to be healthier and you don't have a lot of time in your day, this is a great way to jump off. Give some advice to the people driving around right now.
Yeah, I try to make it as easy as possible for people. I'm a busy person, and I'm running several businesses, and I totally get it. Like, the modern world is on go.
Yeah.
So what I've done is, because living food also takes a lot longer to prepare it, you have a sprouting, soaking, dehydrating, there's lots of layers to it, fermenting. It's not just throw a bunch of rice in a rice cooker and turn it on and come back an hour later, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it takes time. Juicing takes time.
And it's a daily thing. You can't do it and have it last for a week. It has to be, the enzymes don't last.
Yeah, well, so that's why, I could write any kind of recipes, but all the recipes that I write are, and we actually prepackage it in sustainable, like compostable, containers too. So you really can grab it and go if you want to and have a couple days worth of stuff. But, the vitamins and minerals in just this green juice would be, it's equivalent to a whole huge plate of food, broccoli and kale and,
To eat
bok
this
choy.
to eat this many vegetables, you'd have to have a lot.
And you'd have to chew a lot.
You have to chew a lot. That's true.
Yeah, but it's really gourmet living food too, so it's not just salads or rabbit food or something like that,
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and finish up, talk a little bit more. Annie, we have a lot more, so I don't want you to go. Can you stay for the for
Sure,
a little more the next segment? And also, Elena Zwick will be coming up with us. But the music you're listening to for all the breaks today will be a young artist named Ariel. She's going to be singing live in studio on Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. And you can pick up her tunes at iTunes. She has a new song called Truth and one called California. This one's called Kitchen Sink. And my name is Michael Carson. You're listening to See It Clearly on LA Talk Live, and we'll be right back.
Let me put on all my makeup, 'cause I'll be gone before you wake up. Bet that you'll be glad I'm not around when you find I'm nowhere to be found. Life can be a thief without a sound.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Yeah, it's your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
I lost 4.5 inches on my waist. I went down 2 loops on my belt. I've lost 10 pounds.
Hi, I'm Michael Carson, America's Fitness Coach. Here to teach you how to burn body fat with every meal in only seconds a day. Fit in Seconds is a video workout program designed to accelerate your metabolism, resulting in burning fat with every meal. My Fit in Seconds video workouts will train your metabolism to use food as fuel, not as storage.
With Fit in Seconds, I lost 27 pounds and 5 inches off my waistline.
It's time to get fit in seconds.
Secrets in silence.
Welcome back to See It Clearly. I'm your host, Michael Carson. You're listening to Ariel's song Truth, which is available on iTunes. She'll be here on the 5th of May singing live in studio with her husband, Adam Perry. And I have to say, the two of them, they're superstars. And Ariel, she was lucky enough, and we're going to talk about it when she's here. She got a phone call 12 hours before Coachella that CeeLo Green needed her to play guitar for him. Didn't know any of her songs. Showed up, gets there, rocks it. And she's like a virtuoso on guitar. And this is her beautiful melodic voice, but she shreds like a blues guitarist, and she's 21 years old and just remarkable. So, welcome back to the show. Pick up that CD if you can, pick up that track rather. And we're back here with Annie, and I want to make sure that you have Annie's websites. You can go to lifefoodorganic.com, or you can go to Annie Jubb. That's 2 B's, Annie, A-N-N-I-E, Jubb, J-U-B-B.com, to get a lot more information. And we're back. We've been talking about food. I'm talking about internal medicine in essence, because when it comes down to alleviating the inflammation and the blockages and the storages of the toxins, that's what you're doing. You know, you're streamlining and zeroing things out. It's I wish that life was like an Etch-a-Sketch, that we could just shake it all out, but it's not. So we have to go through these processes.
Yeah.
But you have another side to you that's very interesting to me as well, and it's a spiritual side. And it's more about a consciousness, and you're doing it through some intense, I would say, psychological and physical things like firewalking and sweat lodges and high altitude rope work and things that I've dabbled in because I was an ultra endurance athlete, but scared to death as I was doing it. And
that's kind of the point.
Well, yeah, and I did the Tony Robbins firewalk.
We started out at the same time, Tony and I.
Yeah. So I've done these things, and I know the potency and the power of it. But share with me what you're doing and how and just what are you up to with these events and this spiritual awareness?
Well, the body is the mind's experience of itself. What we think is very much evident in how we carry ourselves.
One more time.
The body is the mind's experience of itself.
Excellent.
Yeah. So all of our thoughts read through our body and our postures, and we're constantly reading each other as we move through the world. So it's important to really fine-tune those thoughts, and I think that our internal dialogue is probably the most important dialogue that we have. It's the voice of our familiar. So we have on record maybe 100,000 different voices. If I put on an audio recording of like Jerry Seinfeld or something, you know it immediately, right? So we have about 100,000 voices that we can recognize spontaneously. There's one voice that's our own internal dialogue voice, and it's called the voice of our familiar. And so when we start to turn up the volume of that and see what the messages are, the intimate messages that we're speaking to ourselves, or the recorded messages that we're playing back of other people speaking to us, you can start to refine that to really to fine-tune it, to make sure that it's a beautiful, loving message, that it's an empowering message, that it's a message that you would feel comfortable speaking to other people. Sometimes it's very critical, sometimes it's very harsh, or even very mean at times, So by turning that up, you can start to really, like if you look at people, like pull up Tony Robbins' internal dialogue, and it's going to be like, go,
Yeah, it's like, you are a winner.
Yeah.
You've just won again.
You're so awesome.
Yes. Wait a minute, is that me? I am great.
I think I'm kind of great.
Yeah. But you know what? It works. I mean, it's like anything, like the internal voice that I've come across with many clientele in my job is it's a negative reinforcement that they'll keep telling themselves, oh, how dumb. Why did you do that? How come you didn't do that? Why didn't you do that? And it's the reinforcement in the wrong direction. So you're going in the opposite, basically. You're going towards the light instead of into the darkness with it.
And it actually has a physiological representation in the body, too. Like any positive word is more alkaline forming in the body, and any negative word is more acidic, forming in the body. Remember that guy, what's his name, the wonderful Japanese guy, I always forget his name, who took pictures of water where he just wrote love on the bottle.
Oh, yes, I don't remember
on the
his
water.
name.
Misoto? Yeah.
It was with an M.
Yeah. Anyway, and then he put hate on another bottle and took an electron microscope and was just looking at the water just from the frequency of those words on it. And the water that had the word love on it was just beautifully symmetrical and organized and like a beautiful snowflake, And the one bottle of water that had the word hate on it, it was just completely, like unstructured. It was in no way showed the same kind of structure. So the words that we speak to ourselves and to each other is very important. We could talk about anything here, but I enjoy this concept of words.
Well, and hate takes so much more energy. And love,
it's exhausting.
Love fills you with energy, and hate drains you of energy, I find. And it's, so it's, if you're able to create a positive mental state for your clientele while they're fasting and eliminating the negative toxins within them, what a bonus. I mean, and that especially for, like you said, the clientele that's in Los Angeles, there's a lot of the ones that were fighting cancer, the emotional impact is different than the ones that are out here that are just trying to fight getting a role and to make sure that they stay young enough to be involved. So and they have the voice that's louder than our voice because they've always got something negative being put on them, whether it's the paparazzi or if it's their manager or someone else is trying to knock them down. So this is great for people that are in high stress positions that have to perform, as well as the mom at home that might have really not felt that she's herself anymore because she's given everything to the kids, everything to the family, everything to the house. This helps ground you again, doesn't it? I mean,
Well, and it's a kindness that actually lets you succeed in life, you know. So whenever anybody has overcome some kind of emotional hurdle, it's because they've cleaned up their internal dialogue. You know, and one of the things, if I'm doing private clients, you know, one-on-one with a client, and I usually, you know, they say, okay, I've got, you know, this problem, this physical problem. I've got diabetes or something like this, right? And so what I do is I break it down into, I ask them questions until I get like how much of that is physical, how much is emotional, and how much is spiritual. And so, you know, like if somebody says, well, okay, so I have diabetes, I'll say, when was the first time you noticed symptoms of this? And they'll say, oh, I was like, I don't know, 14 or something. And I'm like, what else was happening in your life around that time? They're like, you know, it was kind of a rough patch. My parents were divorcing. And I'll be like, you know what, if you look at the word diabetes, it actually means sweet urine. It means you're losing the sweetness of life. It's actually just running through you, and you're not able to maintain or retain the sweetness in your life. Wow. You know, so there's a living metaphor with all illnesses, and a big part of us is always emotional. So you're missing the ball part. That's one of the problems actually of modern medicine, is because they completely ignore the emotional component, and they don't have a clue about the spiritual component. They're just looking at the car mechanics approach to healing, which is, let's take this out and let's put a new one in. And
right. Well, now they have 3D printers even to create.
I know. It's actually kind of a cool time to see what they're going to do with that.
We'll see if we can get an unfreeze an embryo and give them a 3D heart. It's like that movie Chappie that came out with the robot. Well, also you have an app that you've developed for women specifically, and share that. I'm very interested. I'm not a woman, but Bruce Jenner made a choice late in life. Who knows what could happen to me?
Who knows? It'll always be there for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can have
femininity is always there.
You can have some 3D parts created for yourself.
Oh man, 2 of them. Maybe 3, I guess. Well, so what is the app about?
It's an app for ovulating women, and it teaches a woman about the 4 stages of her menstrual cycle and ovulation cycle, and what hormones are at play in those 4 different times, and how best you can utilize those hormones as they're either manufacturing and you're building more and more hormones, or as they're waning, and how to go more with introspection, and how to make use of the hormones, what kind of diets are best, you know, for those 4 quadrants as well. Wow. So like menstruation, it's really good to have lots of greens, and you might even need a little bit of red meat during that time period, or, you know, L-carnitine and stuff to replace some of the iron that you actually lost. And it goes right through the menstrual cycle like that. And, you know, as we build up towards ovulation, which is the dun-da-dun-da-da, you know.
It's the water slide of...
Yeah, you have way more estrogen and testosterone, and your face is more symmetrical than it will be at any other time. So you're more spontaneous, you're more likely to have a little fling, you know, because there's nature is wanting you to procreate. And so I've always just been so surprised as I've coached women, you know, throughout my life or my career, that they didn't really have an idea of what was going on in their hormones during, you know, their cycles. They're like, sometimes I'm way more spontaneous, sometimes I'm not. And kind of almost like a slave to their hormones a little bit too. But if you know what's going on and you feed those hormones and you feed that quadrant of your cycle, then you get way more out of it. You know, your intuition just before your premenstruation is just very high and very clear. The hormones are at the lowest, so you're not influenced by anything like that. It's a great time to look at contracts. It's a wonderful time to have that conversation with your boss or with...
Yeah, so this isn't just if you're trying to have a baby and you've sought out maybe in vitro fertilization.
Well, it includes all that too, but you know.
This is deeper. This is about your ability to move through life in a way that's a little more comfortable for you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to give a presentation, do it right before your ovulation, because you are talking faster, you're more beautiful than ever before. You know, your pheromones are going out there, and people are just naturally attracted to you, and you're drawing people in. It's a great time to put yourself out there for whatever you're doing. You know, if you have the opportunity to schedule something.
So you can schedule something during that period. You have an added little.
Oh, you've got a way added bonus.
Oh, wow.
You know, they've done all these. You know, research on that as well, too. Like, I was just reading this great book called Drunk Tank Pink, and they were looking at how subtle things affect us enormously. And so they looked at lap dancers and strippers, right? And they were tracking their menstrual cycle for like for 2 months. And when they were when they were ovulating, they were making like $350 a night, and when they were not ovulating, when they're menstruating, they were making like $170 a night, right?
Same girl.
Same girl. And then when they were, if they were on the pill, which takes out ovulation, they just kind of cruise through. So their hormones weren't making those spikes that were attracting men, you know. And the men, even though they weren't going to go home with this girl, they were still, there's a natural desire to connect and to take care of and to, you know, throw some money down for that particular woman.
The new form of caveman.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it rain.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the Rain Man.
But these hormones do affect us, and it's really important to pay attention to that. And then also, if you have any symptoms whatsoever from your cycle, then I give you I identify them, and I give them nutritional solutions for it.
Where can they find this app? Is this also on your website?
It'll be ready in like a month or something. They're still building it. They're building it in India, and so I'm a little tired because I'm always up in the middle of the night talking to them about this app. But it'll be done in like a couple weeks, yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, and if you want to have more information about it, until then, you can go to lifefoodorganic.com or anniejubb.com and get more information.
Mm-hmm.
Being that our period doesn't last forever,
mm-hmm.
after when you've gone into menopause, is there a benefit to the cycle of your hormones? Because there's still a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
What can you offer to someone who may be past that?
You know, it's funny
part of
too
their
because
lives?
I've had a lot of women come up to me and I was telling them about this, and I mean, you learn so much about anything whenever you endeavor this. You know, you always think everybody has the same kind of cycle, and then I've heard every different kind of story. And a lot of menopausal women have asked me if I would do something, you know, specifically for them, and I would consider doing something like that. The next one I love these apps actually. They're so much easier than writing books. They're very complicated, but like book is.
They're complicated to deliver, but they're so simple to use for the user, and that's what makes it so they'll use it.
Yeah.
Not find this, because the information we can overwhelm, and then people won't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think the next one is going to be more like eating for fertility, because we talked about that a little bit earlier about how women are, you know, often just falling back on the IVF. But what you can really do is just feed your body, and men too. It's always placed on the woman, but it's the men and the women that need to think about their fertility, and especially now because women are wanting to have children in their late 40s and early 50s, and men certainly 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they can borrow an egg and do it if they want to.
People aren't willing to give up their life yet in their 30s. You know,
they're not quite
I'm so
ready yet.
young. No, it used to be that we would have to, because of the fact that we were getting to an age that now it's not the same thing. There's a 65-year-old woman in Germany that has quintuplets she's pregnant with. I mean, that was in vitro fertilization, of course, but still,
she's ready now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at
She wasn't
35, she was rocking. She was at the Berlin Wall and, and had a tattoo, and now she's settled down and ready to give birth to 5 kids.
Wow,
it should be interesting.
You go, baby.
Yeah,
you're a better woman than I am.
Especially 65, though. I wonder how is that. No, I don't know enough about that story to go any deeper than that.
Well, I think it's a neat option though right now because why not? I mean, I think it's just gonna push us to live longer and better and healthier lives. You know, there's no reason why we can't all live to be 120 and have vivacious, really good lives.
And now that we are taking care of ourselves at age 40 and 50, living to be 120 doesn't seem as awful as the people that you see. The woman who just passed away at 127, she didn't look like she had a good 30, 40 years, the last 40 years of her life, maybe.
She was 127?
127 when she passed away. But she was...
She looked like a mummy.
she looked a little bit like a sarcophagus. Yeah, it was not so good. So definitely want to have a little moisturizer after age 80 for sure.
Yeah. You want to be on the Christy Brinkley link. She's like 61 or 62 now, and she looks like she's 30. You know?
But she admits, though, she goes, she's followed, they have bright lights on her to blow out anything that's on her face, and she wears Spanx and this and that, and she goes, and I have hair extensions and everything, but she admits it, and but the girls that are 25 have the same exact stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
we're all doing it.
I did a photo shoot with Italian Vogue, and they all had fake hair, fake eyes, fake eyelashes.
You think her boobs look like that? They're taped in place.
No, she said that. She goes, yeah. She goes, these are
these aren't even real.
Yeah, these are post-apocalyptic boobs. These aren't even real boobs anymore. But Annie, thank you so much. When it comes to your restaurant, give us the location so people can go down to it.
The one in Hollywood is it's Cahuenga and Sunset.
Perfect.
And then in Santa Monica, we're at Pico and 3rd, and it's Life Food Organic.
And you can go online also and see the menu that's available and stop on by. Annie, thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
I'm going to do one of your fasts. I'm going to have to. I have some... my toxins are more stress, and it's not so much the food. It's like I hold a lot of stress in, and I know that's very dangerous
Emotional
as well.
release. More greens.
Yeah.
or magnesium.
Yeah, well, I hope you come back and talk to us again, and maybe you can be Elena. I'm sorry, we didn't talk. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot. But
it's okay. I'm on the radio a lot. I'm perfect. This was so interesting. I was thrilled and I was thrilled to watch you do the show. So I'm perfectly.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're staying,
happy.
aren't you? You're staying because we got to talk.
Of course I am.
Good.
I don't get to see you that often. We talk a lot.
Well, awesome. Well, to find more information, once again, go to lifefoodorganic.com or AnnieJubb with 2Bs.com. And you're listening to Adam Perry and his wife Ariel singing a Labyrinth cover song. They'll be here on the 5th of May, so make sure you check that out, okay? You're listening to See It Clearly. I'm your host, Michael Carson, and we'll be right back with Elena Zwick.
See beneath your perfect. Take it off, no good. Take it off, no good. I wanna see inside. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful tonight?
Sorry, Mike. Sorry. Hair and makeup?
Yeah.
We don't need hair and makeup. This is a documentary. We don't need hair and makeup. You understand? How do you know Michael? What?
We've worked together. We've done. He's done videos, and he's called me and asked me to do makeup for him.
So you ever work out with him?
No, as you can see, no, I haven't.
Okay, all right.
That's how it all started. He said if I would do makeup for him, he would train me, but it never worked out for me anyway.
So he's in acting class with you, or?
Yeah.
Nice. So what type of acting do you guys?
It's like a scene study.
Scene study.
Yeah, you know, you get a scene, you rehearse with your partners. Like we did, like the scene we're going to do is Monsters Ball. You know, the scene. It's going to be intense, but good, I think.
You can just tell him for me that his CDs that he really wants, he's not going to be getting them back.
How about as an actor? Do you think he's going to make it?
No, no. Oh, so sorry.
Nadia.
That was aggressive.
Yeah, it's my ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
Hi. I'm not sleeping with him.
I'd like that CD back.
Marsha Waiteka inviting you to join me every Monday at 1 p.m. for Born to Talk, where conversation plus connections equal community. Starting Monday, April the 13th, be sure to tune in to Born to Talk with Marsha Waiteka, Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also listen live at iTunes Radio R&B, TuneIn Radio, Radio Flag, Live 365, or AHA Radio. This is Reality Radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. We are LA Talk Live, and we are born to talk.
Hi, this is Michael Carson, inviting you to join me every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific for See It Clearly. Join me as we discuss the topics of health, relationships, and the latest in life-improving information. So don't forget to tune in to See It Clearly Tuesdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Radio Flag, TuneIn Radio, Live 365, or just watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to the Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Pull the car over. Let's talk.
What?
Pull the car over. You're in the middle of the street over
Turn
here.
this off. You're not staying.
I'm staying.
You
Pull the
can't
car
stay
over.
here.
I can stay. I can do whatever I want. It's a free country.
Look, you cannot stay.
Why not?
You can't keep sleeping under my bed. You're wrecking my relationship.
No.
If I'm going to have any career out here, I've got to go to this audition.
Hey, what's it for anyhow? What's it?
It's for Eric. I showed you the size.
Eric. Ooh, Eric what?
Eric A.
Eric A. Ooh, sounds like some sci-fi movie, like a horror movie.
You know, it sounds like
I might be able to like get some guts going.
It's a family drama.
Like shot.
I think it's
die.
I got a good shot at this one.
You think so?
Stuart thinks it's the one that's going to change my career.
Let me tell you something. Stuart don't know shit about fuck.
Can we cut the swearing out of the thing?
Come on.
The documentary is going to be 11 minutes long.
It's going to be called Mikey and Charlie. Over there, you fuck.
Oh, God.
Come on, that's funny.
What's your secret? Don't give them away. When everything comes back to hurt you anyway.
Hello and welcome back to See It Clearly. I'm your host, Michael Carson, and you're listening to Off the Ground, a song by Ariel, a young performer who's going to be here on May 5th singing live in the studio with her husband, Adam Perry. You really don't want to miss it. She's fantastic. She shreds on the guitar. She sings like an angel. I'm just so lucky she's going to be here. And right now, I have Elena Zwick with me, and if it wasn't for Elena, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now. So I want to say thank you for having me first as a guest, and then having me back as a guest.
And then having you back as a guest again.
Yeah. No, I think it was only twice. It was one time with Dr. Levi, but you were the...
No, I think maybe you were
was
on
it
one
3?
more time. Yeah, I think so.
God, time goes by so fast. But I have a question for you that
Sure.
I know that you can help me with, because I've had... You and I both have clients that are older than us. And
But I'm a lot older than you.
Well, we're not going there. We're not going there. We're all the same age in this room. But I'm finding that with my clients that are in their mid-70s to late 70s to 80s, that they're beginning to fight against anything good for them. They would rather talk about pain and the stuff that they can't do and the stuff that's blocking them than overcome it. And I know that guys give up in their 40s and stop taking care of themselves, but I'm worried about these people that I can't do for them when I'm not with them what to do. Are you experiencing
Yes.
this? What are you finding?
Oh, it's hard because you care so much about them and you want them to do the right thing and change their habits, but it's really hard. I sort of, I give them little tips and, kind of go over it every single time that I'm there with them. But you have to do it really nicely, and sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't, but you got to be grateful for what they're doing. You're doing the very best that you can.
But how do you get them not to give up? I mean, I've got one client I'm thinking of, and if you are listening to the broadcast,
the same thing.
I love this client, and I want her to take care of herself. And I know it's a lot of effort when you're not feeling good to do it. You and I have been both in a weekend where we said, I'm not going out, I'm not doing anything, I'm not even going to shower. But these people at that age, every day you don't do something is like 5 days.
Oh, see, I haven't had that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't run across that because most of my seniors still work.
Oh, good.
They all still work. Either they work at home or like my friend Merle, singer, who is, I guess I can say, she's in her mid to late 70s.
Yeah, I met her at the gallery.
Yeah, you met her. Her husband is still painting, still goes to workshops.
Say his name for me.
Nathan.
His last name?
Singer.
Nathan Singer.
So it's Merle
his
and
artwork. Look up his artwork. It's really progressive.
I think they have his. I mean, this Thursday he goes back to start taking his workshops in art, and this time he said, I'm not going to go back to just drawing, going to the models class. This time I want to do something different because I want to be outside more. He's taking classes. I mean, he's an amazing.
He's 80. Is he 80?
He just turned 81. He just had a birthday.
And he's looking for more experiences. He's the guy. He's the guy I'm talking about. That's what I want.
Yeah, he's starting to. He said, I'm going to go to a landscape class this time because I want to be outside more.
Fantastic.
So And Merle, she gave herself a 99-day challenge to do a 2-minute video. She's the miracle relationship worker or relationship miracle worker. I always get them mixed up.
Either way, if it works, it's a miracle.
Yeah, so I'm saying them both ways in case she's listening. And she did not miss a day. She did a video, a 2-minute inspirational video every day for 99 days. That means she put on makeup, she went in her room, set up the camera in our exercise.
And she's 75, right?
No, I think she's now 76.
Wow.
So
she's got the coolest hair too.
Yeah, she does.
She's got this hair that's
she
sort of.
She was one of my makeup clients.
Yeah, she's progressive in that way.
And my other client, Gwen, she runs. I mean, she still goes to her office every day. She has a big company. She works every single. Oh, she's now taking Fridays off, and she's getting ready to just do a 3-week trip to Africa. Merle and Nathan are just getting ready to do a 10-day trip to Cuba so he can draw. They're doing.
Oh, wow.
So they want to stay in shape because.
And they're married, and I think that there's a component there that helps, that they're both together, where some people have lost their spouse.
Well, I was with Gwen when she lost her spouse.
You were?
Yes.
Yeah, so that makes it a little harder because you go into a...
But she trained. She did not want to change her schedule.
Good.
And I trained her husband till almost the day he died.
That must have been tough to do.
And he was infectious diseases doctor. And he actually found his disease.
What did he pass?
Oh, he has some kind of weird disease that I can't even pronounce the name. That comes very rare in people.
Well, I find that seniors that lose a spouse or lose a partner, it becomes harder.
It does become harder.
And sometimes the children of the people that are getting older, they're not in the lives as much as they should be as well. I mean, I'm kind of guilty. I'm on the West Coast. I should be able to see my mom 3-4 times a year. I don't. I apologize, Mom. But you can come out here when you want.
Yeah.
On top of it. But it's hard, though, because we don't want to... These people built our lives. They created us. And then there becomes a window of time where there's a challenge to get them to do the right thing or it becomes like we're the parent, but then we're not as patient as they were as parents. Let's put it that way. We're not created to.
Yeah, you just have to do your very best. You can't make somebody do it. All you can do is suggest it. Like, I would love one of my clients to not drink as many Diet Cokes. But from down to, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 a day, down to 1 or 2. So,
well, that's only 1 or 2. That's better than...
Yeah. So...
But let's make it 1.
I'm trying.
Yeah, let's get down to 1.
But... At least, it's just over time. You just have to be able to suggest. You can't make people do things that they just don't want to do.
And you live by example. You said that you went hiking this weekend.
I work out every single day.
You do?
I do something. I'm either at Gold's Gym. I'm a big walker. So I'm either walking around my neighborhood. I'm either walking at the reservoir. I mean, I'm walking. Yeah. I drive my car as little as possible.
Well, and living in Los Angeles, that is quite a feat.
Well, I'm lucky that I live in West Hollywood, so we can walk.
Yeah.
And people go, I see you walking everywhere. But it's a lot faster and it's a lot healthier.
Don't worry, people. She's not lost. She
no,
has
I'm
not
never
dementia.
lost. I'm
she's
never
actually,
lost.
She's getting food.
I got some of my friends and my neighbors walking. So they see me walking. So, yeah, I kind of got my neighborhood walking. So.
How many years have you been on the air with
I'm just going to have my 5... This show?
Yes.
On LA Talk Live. I'm just going to celebrate my 5-year anniversary, May 6th.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, all right.
Actually, I started my radio show Wednesday, May 5th. I'll never forget that, 2010.
No kidding. Well, on May 5th, and I'm gonna congratulate you on the air as well, because that's 5 fast years too.
Can I tell the story? Okay, Richard and I know each other. Richard is our producer. He runs the station. He's amazing.
He makes it happen.
He sold me my first computer.
Oh.
He owned a computer store called Cafe Mac. And my friend said, you got to buy a Mac. I knew nothing. I was a makeup artist in Beverly Hills for 20 years. And I was getting ready to start we'll talk about beauty magnets. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to have, you want to have a website, I think you have to learn how to use the computer. I knew nothing about a computer. So Richard told me this little laptop. He still remembers it. And of course, I kept screwing it up. So I had to keep bringing it back to the shop because I had no idea what I was doing. He was so patient with me. And then he closed the shop, and things happened, and I closed my makeup business. But through the years, his ex-girlfriend actually designed my website. Oh. So through the years, I kept, and then I would upgrade computers. So Richard would come over and upgrade my computer. So we always stayed in contact and became friends over the years. And then he closed Cafe Mac, and I gave him a couple job references. And then we kind of lost track of each other. And then I heard through the grapevine that he had started this internet radio show 5 years ago. People didn't even know what internet radio was.
No, they didn't. They thought it was basically a podcast thing.
Yeah, they had no clue. No. So one day I get this email, and I saved it for a really long time, saying, hey, this is your buddy Rich. I started this radio show. Do you want to, come on my entrepreneur show and talk about beauty magnets? I'm like, yeah, sure. So anyway, it was call-in then. We didn't have a studio then. So I called in, and I loved it. I had done radio before. And then I had just closed my makeup business in Beverly Hills. And, we started talking. He said, hey, you want to do a show? I don't have any female broadcasters. I don't have anybody during the day. Why don't you come down and talk to me? So I went down. We talked. And actually, we did it out of, like, the third bedroom in his apartment, in his house.
Oh, wow. So this was well before the Paradise.
Well before that. And then so we sat down. He goes, okay, do you want to do a show? I said, yeah, sure. What do you want to talk about? Well, okay, beauty. What do you want to talk about? Let's call it Beauty Talk. No, Beauty Talk doesn't say it. Let's call it Elena's Beauty Talk. Okay, what time? Or what day? Wednesdays. Okay, wait. Wednesday's great. What time? 12 to 1. Okay, fine. That was it. Okay, when do you want to start? Okay, I like to do it at the beginning of each month. Okay, let's do it starting May 5th. That was it. That's how it started. 2010. It was just me and Richard. One other person, and that was it. I was the only female. He goes, yeah, I have to get all these licenses. I don't have any daytime broadcasters. I don't have really any female listeners. Now
you have a lot.
Now I have like well over 600,000 listeners, from starting with about 1,000.
And the 3 listeners that are listening to me right now.
No, you got more than that. Because the station has over 7 million a month. So people listen and watch this station all day long from all over the world.
Think about that growth from 2010 to 7 million. That's going to.
And I'm older, so I don't Facebook or Twitter or do that much. This is really.
You did friend me today on Facebook.
Yeah, I did friend you because I always do that.
It doesn't go past friends.
No. I've gotten a little better. I've kind of slacked off lately, but most of this has grown organically, which to me is really been amazing.
Well, and you mentioned one thing that Richard called you about, saying if you wanted to talk about your biological magnets that you were to bring on the show, and that's something I didn't really know about.
No, because I haven't really. After the recession, they were doing really well, and then after the recession, they kind of just.
What are beauty magnets?
Beauty magnets are little tiny magnets that I have developed to put on your face to help tone and tighten the skin and really take away under eye puffiness and wrinkles naturally. Because I'm petrified of Botox. I'm petrified of
And you should be. After just talking to Annie, can you think about all of the...
Oh, you have them
here?
Here
we go.
Oh, Richard loves them. Yeah, these are my newest packaging. Like. I don't know. Oh, they're in... Oh, somebody's been using them.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Richard, you look beautiful.
Oh, which camera?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Right here.
Anyway, I started developing them way back in 1998 after my long-term boyfriend husband was killed in a car accident, and I was crying all the time, and I was going for acupuncture because I was just a wreck. I'm very big into Chinese medicine. I don't really do a lot of Western, I do a lot of holistic. Mm-hmm. It just works for me and my body and who I am. And then it just, I had to go like 3 times a week, because my face was a wreck. And being a makeup artist and in Beverly Hills, it was part of my life, my business.
No, it was your calling card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one day he said to me, and it started to get expensive because he stopped giving me bread. It was just a mess. So one day he said to me, here, try these magnets. I'm just starting to work with them. I mean, they weren't these magnets. But I went home and started working with them, and I'm like, oh, my God, these are amazing. I can do them in my own house.
And does it stimulate the circulation to
Yeah,
the
what
area?
it does is magnets adhere to the blood, because our blood is iron. So
Also
magnets
pulls the metals to the surface of the skin to help to plump
and increase the circulation. But what I found over the years that they do the best is they take out under eye puffiness and fine lines really quickly, because water magnetizes very quickly. So to me, if I really put them back out again, it's for the men and mostly the women who like to have a glass or 2 of wine or have a drink at night. Yeah. And after that, you always wake up with puffy eyes.
Puff. Yeah.
This takes it out deeper than anything I've ever found. And the people that rebuy them are the women that like to have their cocktails.
So these aren't available right now?
They are available on my website. I still have a website up. I haven't updated it.
Give us the website.
It's www.beautymagnets.com. It's still designed by Petruska. It does still work. It just hasn't been updated in many years because I just didn't know what to do with it.
Well, and people are looking for a solution that has nothing to do with invasion.
Yeah.
Which is surgical procedures or injections and things that are going to have to be taken out through our livers and kidneys, just like what Annie was talking about.
Yeah, it's on the same basis.
Well, Elena, this went fast.
It's okay. We're done.
We're listening to California by Ariel. We're finishing up the show today, and I want to thank Annie Jubb. If you want more information from Annie, you can go to lifefoodorganic.com, and she has 2 restaurants here right in L.A. You can go right to Pico and 3rd or Cahuenga, and is it
Cahuenga and Sunset.
And Sunset.
I go by her restaurants every single day.
And to contact her directly, you can go to anniejubb.com. That's with 2 B's. Or if you want to hear Elena, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, you can
12.
go to... My God, I'm getting everything wrong. I have it written as 12. It's 12 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays. And this week is her 5th year anniversary. You should join her.
Weeks.
Well,
it's just
2 weeks. Oh my God, I'm getting rid of the month too fast.
It's okay. It's
Forgive
fine
me.
with me.
But Elena, thank you so much. And if you want to find her beauty magnets, you go to beautymagnets.com. And let's do something non-invasive for your face that makes you look good and not have to have a puncture hole and a bruising and all that.
It's time to bring them back out again.
Yes. And let's talk about next week real quickly. Next week we have a lecturer and an acting coach, Eric Klein, who is the top acting coach in the West Side. He's been doing this for years and helped to continue on Tony Barr, whose Tony Barr's workshop has been around, well, since the late 60s. And everyone from, you can imagine, Ed Asner to lots of Oscar-winning actors have worked with all of these guys. And Eric is going to be here to help us navigate the Los Angeles streets for being an actor and coming out here and trying to get something to happen. And we're also going to have a life coach on, and 5-time X Games champion, and a hot yoga guru. And when I say hot yoga, she's beautiful, but it is not about that. It's the hot yoga that's over. It's 110 degrees, I believe, in that room. And when you work out in that temperature, your body gets much more relaxed. Your elasticity increases, and you get a whole different feeling than your normal yoga class. And that will be with Holly Lyons. She'll be here next week. Thank you again. This is See It Clearly. I'm your host, Michael Carson. We're here every week, Tuesdays, from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. But Elena, she's here Wednesdays from 12 to 1:30 Pacific, and let's make sure we get that right. Thank you again, Elena.
Oh, this is great. It's great to watch you work. I'm so excited that you've taken a show.
Well,
You've got a
you.
lot to offer to your listeners.
Hey, I'm just hoping that they listen.
They are listening. We just think nobody's listening. That's
No,
all.
well,
But they do.
If you're not listening or if you're others, I thank you both. Have a great week.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.